800,000 views.
Zero phone calls.
Sounds impossible until you realize it's happening to financial advisors every single day.
They're posting on LinkedIn, recording YouTube videos, uploading Instagram Reels, sharing market updates, writing newsletters, staying consistent.
Yet their phone stays silent.
The problem isn't your content. The problem is what you're measuring. Too many financial advisors celebrate views, likes, comments, and follower counts as if they're business metrics. They're not. They're attention metrics. And attention metrics do not pay the bills.
Appointments do.
The advisors consistently growing their firms don't obsess over viral videos. They obsess over what happens after someone watches.
Did the viewer visit your website? Did they download your lead magnet? Did they join your email list? Did they book a discovery call? Did they enter your CRM and move through a client acquisition funnel? That's the difference between content that entertains and content that actually grows an advisory business.
A successful digital marketing strategy isn't about getting more eyeballs.
It's about building a system that turns attention into trust, trust into conversations, and conversations into qualified prospects and long-term clients. If your content isn't connected to a marketing funnel, a follow-up system, and a clear conversion strategy, you're probably collecting vanity metrics instead of future clients.
Today, we're breaking down the analytics that actually matter, the marketing metrics financial advisors should be tracking, and how to build a social media system that generates real business, not just more views.
So sit back, relax, and let's dive in to this week's episode of the Digital Advisor Sandbox.
Welcome to the Digital Advisor Sandbox, your marketing and lead generation blueprint.
Rob Souza here with WealthVids.
Brian with Sandbox Studios.
And
welcome.
We're going to dive right in and address the monkey on your back, the elephant in the room, and that is vanity metrics versus metrics that actually create conversions and clients. And
yeah, a lot of people are obsessed with views, but if those views aren't turning into phone calls and customers, then what's the point?
Right. You and I had this conversation during our podcast, and that was that the reality is, at the end of the day, all that matters. I think financial advisors, and because I am deep into that space, we allow our ego to kind of get unfortunately involved in the process. We're not naturally marketers, and we're salesmen. But if you don't get people in front of you to sell, then what does it matter? If you're not in front of the right audience, if you don't have a chance to sell your unique service that is so valuable and so many people need it, but you're talking to an empty room, then does it even matter?
No, it doesn't.
Because at the end of the day,
the whole reason you're making content is to attract customers and clients.
And so it's important as financial advisors who specialize in studying analytics and understanding where the markets are at so that people can be where the market's at the right time, at the right moment to make the most amount of money. That's what financial advisors specialize in doing.
Yeah. And you have to do the same thing and analyze where your customers are at.
Correct. And you and I talked about that. If most advisors, here's my incredibly unique solution. The problem is location. If you're in the middle of a desert all by yourself, and you give this amazing, incredible presentation, does it matter?
No.
You've got to figure out where your clients or your niche market is at. And how frustrating has that been for you as a marketer for decades? Trying to convince business owners to talk about what their market wants and what their market's looking for, what their market is seeking versus what the owner wants people to know.
Yes. You're talking about your product or service, not the issue that your customer is actually having.
And if you want to give your unique solution that is going to make the greatest impact to help the people that are within your niche market, if you're not studying your analytics to figure out where you need to be to give that presentation, then your presentation becomes meaningless.
Correct.
And so actually that's the actual foundation of our relationship, is I needed to bring in an outsider who wasn't biased with the industry and say, okay, show us how to get in front of the right people.
Right. And we're going to talk about this later. It's about, you said, listening to your customers. And that's what happens a lot of time, I think, when we're so close, the saying of, you're so close to the forest, you can't see the trees.
You can't see the trees, yeah.
So a lot of times financial advisors or any business, really, they're looking at it from the perspective of, this is the thing I offer. They're not listening to the problem. When we talk about this all the time, problem solution, what is it, the questions that your customers are actually asking? And it's being able to listen to those questions and answer those questions.
I think it's really important when it comes to sales and marketing.
And your analytics will tell you that.
Is that it's one thing to have a really, really great solution and a competitive edge and something that's unique, or what we call USP, unique sales proposition. But if you haven't done your homework, you may have created a unique sales proposition for a problem
that doesn't exist.
That doesn't exist.
Or at least your audience doesn't care about.
Correct. And trends change. And so maybe a certain topic, Roth conversions or tax deductions or Social Security or taxation on Social Security, the value of people finding a solution for those things will come and go, and it will rise and fall if you're not following trends. And before we move into the next section, I just wanted to take a moment, because we had such a great conversation about you're not a financial advisor, but you've actually developed your own trading platform at which you've used AI to listen.
Yes.
You've created
That's
AI
exactly what it does.
Platform that goes out there and determines what's trending, what are people talking about,
who's buying what,
where is the money going, where's the markets going. And a good advisor knows how to do that and keep their finger on the pulse of what's happening out there to get ahead of the trend. Why aren't they doing that with their organic social media and even advertising marketing?
I don't know.
So, but explain the value, though, of how much of an impact it's made when you created an investment platform that you developed using AI to go out there and listen to in real time, what are the trends today? How much difference has that made in your trading?
Oh, it's made a massive difference in just the way I approach it. I've developed a different style, and that's evolved over the years. But what I've realized is it's important to listen where the market is heading, get in front of it. What are the questions that they're asking? If, right now there's a huge rotation out of tech stocks and into, commodities and transport, and because fuel prices are coming down and the market is broadening and that's a trend. So the wave is coming. And if we can get out in front of that, we can make better decisions.
So would you say that, and we don't have to talk specifics, but I know that your year-to-date average is 2 times the actual national average of advisor-managed funds, and you're not a financial advisor. You don't have any certification or licensing in this industry. How is it that you're able, which ties in today's listening and analytics and everything else, what has given you the ability to get twice the returns of your average financial advisor? And you've been doing this now for what, 3 years?
Mm-hmm.
So what would you attribute as the most important element that's allowed you to see ahead of the curve and make trades that is now averaging twice the typical financial licensed advisor?
Well, when we talk about trends, it's looking at the trends, but it's also observing what's actually happening. Because you can follow a trend on YouTube and they'll say, oh, you should be investing in these small cap financial institutions like SoFi or Robinhood. And that's all over Instagram and YouTube, but that's not really what's actually happening.
That's actually a good point. And it's actually a really good point. If you just follow trends, and I know further in the show we're going to talk about Google Trends, right? I think you're right. I think if you follow the trend that the masses are following, you may miss the market, because what you're actually following is not the trend of the crowds.
You're following the smart money.
You're
Where
following
are the institutions going?
You've picked an audience. We're saying audience today because we want financial advisors to figure out your audience, and you got to figure out where you can go listen to your audience. It doesn't matter what's happening in the industry. It only matters what's happening with your audience. And for you in trading, you have specialty markets that you want to follow. So you don't care what everybody else on Instagram is doing. You care about only the types of companies and trades and things that are happening. And you're hoping actually to find where the trends are not, meaning there may be something that people aren't picking up on that you're picking up on because you're listening more carefully about and studying more carefully using AI tools to figure out where are people going, and you're trying to make sure you're there first.
Yeah.
Yeah, be there first.
Exactly.
Otherwise you sound like, then you're trading. If you trade where everybody else is trading, you're not going to make as much money. If you're creating content that everybody else is making content for because that's the trend, then that's that blue ocean, red
ocean, blue ocean.
Do you want to go fight for clients in the bloody water, shark infested waters where every advisor is trying to fight for just some small slice? Or do you want to go out to ahead of where they're going and be the first one there because you're listening to your audience and you can anticipate they're going to want this, and I see it before everybody else sees it. And that's the only way to do that, is to be listening.
Correct.
So that's what we're going to be talking about today, and we'll dive in next. You want to help?
Yeah. So this next video, because we're talking about analytics and this vanity metric of views and likes and followers. And the example is, if you had a video with 1,000 views and no phone calls, no clients, no emails, no click the link to go to your website, however you attract your client, or if you had one video that had 100 views, but you got 3 booked phone calls off of it, or 3 client inquiries, which video is better? So it's not just important to look at your analytics. It's drilling down into the type of analytics, the different metrics inside those analytics. Booked phone calls, to me, on a 10 view video would be better than 1,000 views or 10,000 views with no customer inquiries.
But Brian, 10,000 views makes me feel more significant, and 10,000 views,
and that's why it's called a vanity metric, right?
And 10,000 views is going to show my audience that I'm more relevant,
People
and I'm
like
more popular.
They like my information and content. Well, maybe they did, maybe they didn't. It got a lot of views, but if it's also another metric to look at, which Sean will talk about, or we'll talk about later, is watch time. If you had a 30-minute video with 10,000 views and they only watched the first 30 seconds, that counts as a view.
Absolutely.
So a video that got 100 views, but they watched the full 3-minute video and then clicked a button to take action, that's the video that you want to make more of.
Conversions.
Not just views. What was the action that was taken? What was
Right.
the result of the content? So,
Otherwise, it's a waste of time. And I think the biggest mistake advisors make is they watch what's happening on social media and they say, oh, I got to figure out how to be a social media influencer. Lots of views. But the reality is companies hire social media influencers, but how many companies are actually wanting to? You don't see the CEO of Coca-Cola doing all of their own advertising and being in all their own commercials and all their own videos. No, there's a difference between being a social media influencer and a company that is promoting the value of what you do, and because social media influencers, all they want to do is grab attention. It's all they care about. Then they can sell that attention to sponsors like financial advisors.
And I think a lot of local businesses see that and they try and mimic what's happening on social media without a clear picture of what is their marketing, what's the intent of the video.
Yes, absolutely.
So you want to take a look at Sean's video?
Let's do that. We'll transition into taking a look at Sean.
We've all heard the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. If you're listening to your analytics, you can then make data-driven decisions to be informed about the next thing you should do better. Creators that say, I'm at 300 videos on YouTube and I'm still stuck. You're not listening to your analytics. You're not studying your watch time curve. Something needs to change. A video may have failed, but really what it did was it educated you on what not to do next time. And even your most successful videos contain lessons as you study your analytics. But if you're not listening and you're just blindly continuing on the same path, expecting a different result, you might be insane.
Yeah, so it's all about listening. What we've been talking about, listening to your audience, studying your analytics, watching that watch time curve to know if a 5-minute video got 1 million 10-second views, they didn't watch the whole thing. That's a bad video.
Correct.
Don't make any more of those.
And we see this all the time. We get financial advisors who will complain, oh, we hired you for social media, but it's not working.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you hired a bunch of employees who aren't in the industry. You're telling them what content you want them to create, and then you're blaming them for the content not converting into actual increase, growing your business and sales.
Yeah. And the problem is a lot of people will take that shotgun approach and they'll just because we're all told, oh, you got to post a lot of content. So you post like Sean said, you post 300 videos and none of them are resonating. They're not getting views, or they are getting views, but no results. And if you look at that watch time curve, it'll tell you basically people don't care. A lot of people watched it. They didn't watch the whole thing. They clicked away. They went to the next thing, and they didn't care about the information.
So if I'm a financial advisor,
so then they say, well, then they blame their production team saying, well, the content you're making isn't good. It's not because the content isn't good. It's because the message inside the content didn't hit that audience. And they keep saying, well, you got to make more, do more. These last 300 didn't work, so make 600 next time. Maybe those will work.
And you could bypass that entire process by simply taking as deep of a dive as every financial advisor does into retirement planning and recommendations for investments and the research they do for investment strategies in order for them to come up with the best possible solution for the investor given their circumstances. Why aren't financial advisors doing the same for their social media and content analytics? The reality is, if you're frustrated and you want to cancel social media services from any company because they keep not converting, whose fault really is that?
Yeah, it's the
advisor.
Someone has to be in charge of listening to what the customer wants and then providing those answers in the form of content. And if you send a 12-page PDF about your background and your services and how many decades you've been in the business and you say, here's all my information, and you send it to a content team that's making the content based off that PDF, all of your content's going to be garbage.
It will be, because you forgot the most important piece, and that's one, you may have not selected the right target audience for your specific expertise. So if you don't get the target audience right, you're in the wrong town square.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the wrong crowd in front of you. No wonder it's not converting. So whatever your unique target audience is, it's extremely important for you to get inside their head and listen enough. Well, first of all, where to find them, how to find them, and then talk about what they want, not what you want them to know.
Right.
And connecting those dots, you can only discover where the mistake is if you study and analyze your analytics. And quick plug, stick around to the end of today's show, and we're going to give you the opportunity to schedule a 15-minute strategy call where I will help you run comprehensive analytical report to help any advisor, any life insurance agent be able to better understand their audience. What are they looking for? What are they asking about? What are their searches in Google versus any of the other social media platforms? If you want to understand your audience better, stick around to the end, and we're going to give you an opportunity to get a comprehensive analytical report for your business that will help you better understand if you've chosen the right target audience to match your unique solution to solve the problem they care most about.
Correct. And we just talked about this. We'll go into another clip here. Those two, what you were just talking about, you've got a lot of views, no results, versus another piece of content that has
fewer
views, but the result you want, because you're studying those trends. And we want to show you where you can find some of those trends. There are resources and tools. Google Trends. Neil Patel is an SEO expert in studying trends on the internet. And let's watch his video.
Creating content can be exhausting and so time-consuming, even for someone like me who loves writing. Here's how to use newsjacking to save time and drive more traffic. Have you heard of tools like Google Trends? Google Trends shows you what's popular right now. It could be news related. Sometimes it's just industry related where something's buzzing within your space. Now on Google Trends, you can see what's trending upwards and trending downwards. You can also see what's trending right now. If you start creating content around what's trending right now in your space, you'll naturally get more traffic because one, a lot more people are searching for it, and two, they're looking for more content around that newsworthy topic that's recent. And your article, guess what, is being published right now, so you're more likely to show up at the top because a lot of people are looking for fresh content related to that topic. That's why you should use newsjacking and use Google Trends to help you do it.
Now, another way to do keyword research with Google Trends is to leverage on the categories. For example, instead of a specific keyword here, you want to know all the trending how-tos related to golf. So in the field, I would type how-to. And in the category, I would find golf. And here it is. Now we have how to watch Ryder Cup, how to watch US Open Golf, etc. And sometimes you can't find an exact category. For example, you want to know the trending how-tos in digital marketing, you won't find it here. So you may have to refine the category to something more generic. For example, marketing, and you will see a couple of related categories. Hope you find this keyword research tricks helpful, and if it does, do help us out by smashing that thumbs up.
And that's a perfect example of what we're talking about. So Neil Patel started that off, and then we gave you an example of actually someone using those tools. What are those tools they're using in order to find their audience and listen to their audience about what their audience is searching for?
Right.
What are the tools that you would recommend?
Oh, Google Trends is good. vidIQ is excellent.
Okay.
It's super inexpensive. And that it's because YouTube is a Google product, it will show you exactly what people are typing into YouTube and what they're searching for. And you can find keywords, and then you just build content around those keywords.
But Brian, I am so inspired. I'm so obsessed with the solutions I've created over the last 20 years for my clients. I just want to come up with a topic to teach what I'm most passionate about. And I just
Well, good luck with that.
This is what I want people to know, Brian. Create social media about what I want people to know.
Well, you can do that if you use the right tools. So I just pulled up.
I think that's the
I know that's
the trap.
That's the mindset.
That's the trap.
But you can do that if you have the right information. And I just pulled up Google or vidIQ. One of the top trending searches in YouTube is how much do I spend in retirement? 29,000 search volume and very low competition. Well, that means no one's making content about that. There's 29,000 searches a month on how much can I spend in retirement? So what kind of content could you create talking about the thing that you want to talk about, answering that question?
That's why I'm partnered with this guy, because he thinks in such an analytical way. Every morning he wakes up, the first thing he does is open his AI platform tool for investing. And that's exactly what he's looking for. He's looking for
I'm looking for an
high
edge.
Demand with low competition.
Well, that's your edge, right?
High demand, low competition.
We call it a blue ocean in marketing and in investing. It's called your edge. So if you want an edge, you need to be studying the analytics. And here's another great one.
Okay.
How much do I need to retire? 22,000 searches a month with medium competition. We could create a whole YouTube channel just with that one question.
Without a doubt. And it's super interesting. We did a man on the street interview.
Mm-hmm.
This is like 6 months ago. And we walked through the South Coast Plaza Mall and interviewed 20 and 30-year-olds about how much money do you know how much
they think they need?
And oh my gosh, it was amazing. Only one person, and he was 10 years old, gave us the correct answer about, you're this age, you want to retire at 65, how much money do you think you're going to need to have saved? And when we got like 40 answers, and they were all like 90% short of what they really need. And if you're functioning with that mentality of having no idea where you need to be to become financially independent, how you don't even know the target you're shooting for.
So then how much content could you create around a topic like that?
Yes.
Like an infinite amount.
Yes.
And what do most financial advisors end up talking about instead?
It's the solution without establishing. They're either taking 4 generic topics that everybody's talking about, everybody's doing workshops on: taxes and retirement, estate planning, or legacy planning, social security optimization.
Well, here's a good thing that I think most financial professionals talk about how to save money in retirement or how to save taxes in retirement. But that didn't come up at all. There's nothing in here about taxes. It's how much money am I going to get?
Okay. So that's a good point, and it's a good nuance. Sometimes the topic of your content will have nothing to do with what your solution is. However, it is the number one question that is not being answered by your competition that your audience is actually asking. And if you'll just answer the question that they want most, then you can transition into your topic, your solution. But start with what listen and answer their question first.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's the right audience, then you're amassing the right audience.
Well, you need to earn the right to be able to talk about the thing that you want to talk about. So if you want to talk about how to save taxes in retirement, say, well, start with, do you even know how much money you're going to need in retirement? You're going to need X amount. And in order to get X amount, you're going to need to do this really cool tax strategy that I have.
Well, and even okay, so I'll even slice,
and that would be your CTA.
I'll even slice that, and what I would say you add to the middle of what you just said is, okay, I answered your question, but it now establishes your current plan, your current thinking is wrong, it's off, and you need to adjust it. Once you get that buy-in, then you can establish, do you agree that you're going to need to change your strategy because your strategy was built on a false belief?
Yes. And I would also add to that is give the value away for free. Tell them how to do it, whether they call you or not.
But why would I do that?
Because only 2 or 3% would actually go out and do it. 50% will do nothing. And a good portion of the remainder will probably actually give you a call because you've given them the answer. You've told them exactly how to do it. Now they believe that you know how to do it. So I don't want to do it myself. I'll just call this guy.
And I think that lends itself to the like, no trust. If you're willing to listen to them and answer their question where they're at, even if it doesn't specifically tie into your unique solution, as long as it's the right audience, what you're doing is establishing some level of trust that you care about them more than you care about you and your solution.
Yes.
Show them that you care about what their concerns are, and then you earn the right to then share what your solutions to that problem can be. All right.
It goes back to that Zig Ziglar quote. If you help enough people get what they want, you'll eventually get everything that you want.
So just some sample advisor. Okay, so here's advisors ideal clients are actually searching for right now. So you just did some real, like, I don't even know what platform you brought that up.
That was vidIQ.
Okay, so but we did some preempted trending searches.
Yes.
So just to give you a few, will my 401k run out of money in retirement? So that kind of goes along with what you just found in real time on vidIQ.
Absolutely.
And I think there's even a free plan for vidIQ. It gives you limited services, but most importantly, the analytics are part of a free account. So I'd encourage you to do that. Google Trends is free. If you're not signed up for those and you're a financial advisor, life insurance agent, I think you are losing your mind because they're free. It gives you clarity and helps you prevent wasting time and money.
Absolutely.
How much can I safely withdraw without running out of money? It fits right back into your vidIQ search.
Here's a top trending one right now. The 4% rule, 19,000 searches a month with medium competition.
And
so that question and that search should match up and get you a lot of views. In fact, we should make a video about that.
I'm literally writing it down on my sheet of paper because the 4% rule fits into my family's financial planning company and the AFI group. And we debunk the 4% rule because people are questioning it's not going to work. If you're withdrawing 4% from a 401k minus taxes, my God, the amount of money that people would have to have is about 5 to 10 times what they have now. And it would, if people really ran the math on all that stuff, they would realize, oh my gosh, I need a different strategy.
Yep.
And so I just wrote down that we need to create a video, Brian, on debunking the 4% rule. All right. Number 3, is there a way to get retirement income tax-free, which increases retirement income? Goes back to what you looked up in real time. Am I going to have enough in retirement? Yep. These are all questions that tie into what you just did in a real live search.
Yep.
How long did it take you to pull that report up in vidIQ in real time on the show?
10 seconds.
Did we plan this?
No.
Okay. And all of our pre-planned questions fit right into what you're saying is trending with low competition. And then number 4, how do I protect my savings from the next market crash? Again, ties in, am I going to have enough money for retirement, right?
Yeah.
So,
and they don't have to be complicated videos either.
No.
You could literally take your phone out, do a selfie video.
Correct.
Answer that question in under 2 minutes and post it and see how it does.
Absolutely.
Study your analytics, and then if it performs well, do it again, and then keep improving.
Okay, so I'm just going to answer. I mean, we have questions coming in real time. We're posting comments. Feel free to participate in posting comments, and we'll try and answer them either in real time or we'll answer them privately after the show. Drop us your email address, and we'd be happy to. You can always email rob@amhsupport.com, and we would be happy to answer those questions. So from Rona, what if I'm a very specialized financial niche? Does search
research still apply?
Okay.
Yes, because you can type in that financial niche and you can find out what those people are talking about. I mean, I would need to know which financial niche, but
correct. But AI will help you narrow that down. But what I'm discovering, even as we are live on air, is that it's really important. You don't need to start with an audience asking the question that your solution answers. Sometimes it's more important to ask the more macro entry level question that gets them.
Yeah, you can transition,
grab their attention by answering their biggest question
and delivering value, real value.
So don't lead with your solution.
And then you can transition into, and by the way, I have a solution that solves this exact problem. Would you like to know more? Book a call.
And I think this comes down to human psychology. If you met someone in a mixer, in a bar, and all you do in the first 5 minutes is talk about yourself and your opinions, how well is that going to work in building friendships? Or even if you're single and looking for a date, how well is that going to come off?
Well, it depends. If that person is interested, I mean, it goes back to listening to your audience and speaking to the right audience.
But if you go up and meet somebody brand new, you don't know who they are, you don't know what they care about, you don't know their politics, you don't know their religion, and you just start talking for 5 minutes about what you're most passionate about.
If you said, but if, for example, if I go to a party and I start talking about pottery and I'm really into pottery, unless that person that I'm talking to is also super interested in pottery, they're going to be bored
the entire time. They're going to be thinking,
like, how do I get away from this weirdo?
Which
on social only cares about pottery.
And on social media, all that is
that's a swipe.
Swipe, keep scrolling.
Yeah,
not interested. And that's why people like social media, because
exactly.
They can easily eject themselves out of a conversation.
Like, remember channel surfing back in the day, when remote control? It's like when cable TV came out, and you had 99 channels. You just scroll through all of them,
and until you find something that captivates your most relevant interest at the moment. Have you ever been, Brian, where you're watching television or even streaming, and sometimes you're in the mood for like a documentary, and sometimes like you're like, I just want to turn on something brainless. I'm not in the mood, or sometimes it's I'm in a different mood today, and what I really want is an inspirational movie, or I want a suspense movie, but it's not the same every day.
Right.
Each moment we all change, our interests change. And I think that goes back to listening. What are people feeling, thinking, and interested in today?
In that moment, yeah.
To grab their attention, listen, address that current interest. And then if you've listened enough, and I'm going to give just one more example before we transition into the next clip. And that's going to be like, let's just say, and I'm using this as an example, so all you out there, don't be offended, but if I walked into a room and I walked up to someone I was trying to build a relationship with, could be a business partner, friend, or dating partner, whatever. If I just walk up, don't learn anything about them, and I start talking about my politics, and I go into this deep dive about Donald Trump, and I don't even know if they like him or hate him, how is that going to go off if I haven't figured out if they like him or hate him?
Right. Know your audience.
Know your audience. The only way to know your audience is what?
Study your analytics.
Listen.
And part of listening, this next video is a great one because we talked about watch time and studying that graph. And this next video, who's it from? It's from TubeBuddy. TubeBuddy is also an analytics tool very similar to IQ. So vidIQ, TubeBuddy, both work the same. And they show a graph of watch time. And this next video will explain it exactly perfect.
All right, let's do it.
These are the most important YouTube metrics for getting more views. The first is average percentage viewed. This shows you how much of your video people are watching before clicking away. YouTube promotes videos that have higher viewer satisfaction metrics like AVP in their search results and recommendation sections. Metric number 2, click-through rate. The higher the percentage of people that see your thumbnail and click on it, the more YouTube will promote your content. You could have the greatest video in the world, but if no one clicks through to watch it, it won't matter. The last metric, traffic from recommended videos. This metric is crucial because the recommendation section is the fastest way to grow on YouTube. If you know what types of your videos are being suggested most, you can make similar content and grow way faster. The devil isn't in the details, it's in the data. Leverage your analytics to see what your audience likes and make more of that. Now subscribe for strategies behind YouTube's biggest creators.
So I want to go.
Yeah. And also that video is a perfect example of everything we're talking about. So someone is searching on how do I study my analytics on YouTube. That video pops up. They give all the value and show you exactly how to do it. They give you the solution. And then they say, if you'd like to know more, subscribe or click this link.
Absolutely.
So that's the perfect format for everything we're talking about.
So shameless plug. If you want a comprehensive analytics report because you're not sure what tools to use to get those analytics and identify your audience and be able to study what your audience is really interested in and looking for and asking and searching for in the internet, we're going to give you an opportunity to schedule a call at the end of this episode, and we'll do that comprehensive report for you, absolutely complimentary. So hang in there with us. We'll get that resource to you at the end of today's episode. But my only thought in this segment really is just because we've been living it every day, and that is when financial advisors get frustrated why the content they're asking us to create is not converting. And I just have to say, it's because you haven't studied your audience well enough to know what they want. You're trying to shove your information down people's throats before you establish what they're really interested in.
Yes.
And then you continue to do the same thing over and over again, shotgun approach, hoping that if I just talk enough about my solution and how smart and competitive our solution is, that you'll eventually convince people to convert.
Yeah, you're just shouting into a vacuum.
That's a great phrase. You're shouting into a vacuum.
Mm-hmm.
Anything you want to add before we transition to our next video?
No, but this is the video I was referring to earlier with the graph. So.
Okay. Well, before we go there, I just want to really quickly just touch on the different pieces of analytics that people are getting hung up on.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think number one,
these are the 6 signals to pay attention to, right?
Right. So we want to go into them after this next video, or we want to do them now? What are the 6 signals you want them to pay attention to?
Let's watch the video first. I think it'll make more sense.
Are you marketing your business on social? If so, which would you prefer? A huge following of random accounts located in faraway places, or a modest audience consisting of locals, past clients, and database contacts? If you're running a local business, I'm guessing you choose the latter. So stop worrying over vanity metrics. Follower count, views, likes, sure, that stuff matters algorithmically, but to what end? If you're trying to become a celebrity, then sure, worry about it. But if you're simply trying to reach and engage local prospective clients, then make that your concern. By creating content with them in mind, you'll find what you're seeking, i.e. actual customers and clients.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I think It truly, even I'm addicted to it. And I think it's the social media machines that have trained us all to determine our success based on number of impressions and views.
Mm-hmm.
But impressions and views are the least important analytic out there.
It becomes a popularity contest. Everyone wants to be popular. Everyone wants to be noticed. So if you get thousands of views, it feels good.
It does.
It feels like, oh, look,
dopamine hit.
Everyone cares about this information that I'm putting out there, but do they really? And these six signals that you should be paying attention to are the ones that are going to validate whether or not that's true. Saves, shares, comments, profile visits, link clicks, that's probably the most important one, and audience retention, which is the watch time we talked about. If you see the graph dip in the beginning, but then it goes up and remains steady, that means people are skipping past the first minute of your content. So stop doing that. Or if it dips in the middle, something right there is something that people skip past. The one we see the most often is shares, and then it just dives, and then that means they watched the first 30 seconds and they did not care about anything else you said. They scrolled past it.
So don't keep doing that.
Correct.
Like you've got to learn from your analytics what's working and what's not working, but you have to remind yourself. I don't care if you write it on a pad of paper and stick it to the wall. Don't let your emotions follow the vanity metrics. Follow the metrics that matter. You're all financial advisors and life insurance agents. So you understand how important studying what works and what doesn't work does for the financial industry. Why wouldn't you do that for your marketing?
Right. Some of the other ones that are interesting on here too are the saves and the shares. When people save a piece of content or they share it with someone else, that means they found it valuable and they're going to send it to another friend that they know has the same problem. So they're going to share it with a friend, or they're going to save it to watch it later. The other one is comments. How many comments are you getting? If you're putting out content that's getting tons of views and 0 comments, that means nobody cared enough to leave a comment.
Yeah.
Or are you soliciting comments?
Yeah.
You should be saying, if this information matters to you, leave a comment down below.
So based on that recommendation, we have a comment here. Where do I get started? That's exactly the type of engagement that you're looking for. So if you're watching right now live or even in replay, go ahead and comment and we'll help you get started. We're going to give you an exact plan of where you should get started, how you get started. We'll even do the first search for you complimentary, and we're going to show you how you can do that at the end of today's episode for absolutely free. We're giving it away because we want to help you create more conversions and sales, because that's what it's all about. This is not about social media or popularity contests. So
yes, what it is about is these other two on these 6 that you should be watching is the profile visits and link clicks. That's the action that we all want people to take. And if your content doesn't grab them and answer the question that they're already asking in advance of you creating that content, and they're not clicking to go visit your profile, or they're not clicking a link to go to your website, then why are you even making content?
Well said. A quick aside before we transition into our next video, and that is, I'm going to just for a moment, to all of our team members, to all of our creators, to all of our VAs, please make sure you also study the analytics and push them back to your client and say, it's up to you to analyze these analytics. So if you're a creator,
because the advisor's is the only person that knows what those questions are, because they've heard the questions over and over and over from their clients.
Yes.
I'm sure they get the same question, don't you?
Yeah.
You get the same questions over and over again. Start by so the question was, where do I start? Start with that. Start with the questions that your clients are constantly asking. Make content about that. It does 2 things. one, it provides content that you can publish on social media. Two, it gives you a video that next time a client asks that, just send them the video.
Yep. This is a great comment too, and then we'll transition into the next video. But it's at the end of the day.
At the end of the day, we're looking for conversations, not just impressions. Yes, you want to have conversations with your clients. That's exactly what you want. In the form of a comment, an email,
right?
A link click, a booked phone call.
Right.
Who cares about views?
How often do you and I send each other something we saw on social media that was like got us so excited we wanted to I send it to you or you send it to me.
Exactly.
You got to check this out.
That's the share. That's the shareability of it too.
Yes.
If you got one video, if you had a video that got one view and one booked phone call, and that's all it got, wouldn't you just make that same type of video over and over again? If I got one view and one booked phone call consistently, that's a successful piece of content.
I know we're running out of time, so I'm going to try and see if we can speed up a little bit. But I want to answer this question because this is a really good question. Because of compliance, some people's advisors aren't allowed to turn on comments on their social media. How can you get around that?
Provide a link to a website. Provide a link to, actually not a website. Forget websites. It should go to a funnel. Or a single landing page that has all the content and a form or calendar at the bottom of that page. And all you have to do is say, for more information, go visit this web page. All your questions will be answered. And if you want to book a call, go ahead and do so.
So I think absolutely. And I think it doesn't matter the form at which you do it. But what I would say, if you can't turn on comments, give people an outlet to have a digital conversation, an email conversation, a text, send me a text. There's a radio show that says, call this phone number and leave a voicemail with your questions or comments and we'll play them on air.
Yeah.
Like they give them a week. Everybody call this number, leave us a voicemail, and we're going to answer that question either privately or on air next week during the show. That's a great idea for that. Is it another great idea for creating content? Yeah. Absolutely. And listening to your audience. All your content, it serves two things at once. You can listen to your audience, and then that gives you fuel for your next piece of content. All right. Well, thank you for that question. And so let's go ahead and play our next video clip so we can get into our final segment.
What is your retention graph saying to you? Your video seemed cool, but once I clicked on it, I realized that I don't really care about it enough to watch the whole video. I don't care about your intro, so I skipped it, but I like the rest of your video. Love the video, but as soon as I realized you were doing an outro and you were wrapping everything up, I clicked off to the next video. The video topic was good, but I lost interest as the video went on. You didn't give me a reason to stay until the end of the video, and you didn't keep me engaged. I only came to your video for this one moment. I don't care about the rest of the video. So take a look at your analytics. All right. Yes. That was the attention graph video that I was talking about earlier. That is a super important place to go. And it's inside of your YouTube dashboard. It's free if you have a YouTube channel. And you can see all of your videos. And it's the attention graph. Where are people dropping off? Yeah. Where are they skipping? And it will validate, is your intro too long? Maybe your outro is too long. If you see people just dip off at the end, they got what they needed and they left. And you may not be providing enough value throughout the video. Yeah. And if you don't provide enough value and then engage them into, engagement, get them to engage, then it doesn't matter. But Marie, we're going to skip to reel 7. So if you can skip to reel 7, we're going to do our final video clip as we wrap up today's show.
Let's say most of your videos get 50 views. Talking real numbers now. This one, for some reason, gets 4,000. You take that one and you run it $500 worth of ads against whatever target you want. Meaning age, gender, race, income level. There's so many things you can target on. So I'm gonna spend $50 within 5 miles because I'm a local business. I don't think people understand how well that will work. You will get in front of a lot of people for $50. And then if you're smart and you got the phone number there and the email, all business people, it doesn't take much. You spend $50 and you get 3 leads, 3 phone calls, 3 emails. You're like, wait a minute. and becomes then it's like, what's so exciting for me is when I do this is getting the email from someone here a month later and being like, I cannot believe how real this is. But this is that real. This is changing local businesses.
Yep.
Yeah, and that was Gary Vaynerchuk, and that's a great transition into the reason you want to follow your analytics is so you know what's performing well, so you know how to make more content, but then you can amplify that content with paid advertising to get in front of more people because you already know it's working well.
So, oh my gosh, this could open up. Maybe this is come back and join us next week, because I think we're going to continue this conversation about if you study your analytics, you get your organic content working because you're studying your analytics. And a financial advisor does that. Why would they invest in a company that
without doing their homework?
Without doing their homework.
Yeah.
So why invest into content if you haven't done your homework? Do your homework, figure out what works, prove it organically. And then the second piece of the puzzle, and this is a puzzle that most advisors miss, and that is you have to invest into advertising. But if you want to limit your advertising spend to amplify your message to the right audience, first you need to find the audience, prove that your messaging is resonating with that audience, and then is it a safer investment to invest advertising dollars into a piece of content you've already proven works organically?
Yes.
So study your analytics, prove it in organic, then you create an enormous opportunity to double down and invest into yourself through advertising. And that's what we will talk about next week. I think we're going to have to skip our last video and try and do a wrap up for today. I did promise you that we would give you the opportunity of where to start, where to get started, how to find the right tools, identify the right analytics that you can study so that you can begin learning more about everything we're talking about today. And that's going to be just go to www.schedule15minutes.com, and I will personally help you identify. I'll help you come up with a strategy and run your first analytical report for you about your target audience so that they can get started.
Yes.
And then you don't have to write down and guess, where do I go here? Do I go there? And then how do I study?
It'll create a bunch of clarity.
It will create
when you know who to talk to and what they care about, then it becomes much easier. You're not guessing anymore.
So again,
much easier to make content.
Right. And
schedule15minutes.com.
Perfect. And all that I'm going to do is just point you in the right direction. We'll run your first report, point you in the right direction. We'll send you a comprehensive report, and you can do whatever you want with it. But it's at least an easy way for you to get started without spending more than 15 minutes to get on track for analyzing, studying, and determining, do you need to change the direction you're going with your content? If you're not satisfied with your content and you don't sign up for this 15-minute call, I think you're crazy.
Yeah. Schedule15minutes.com. Get some clarity on the type of content you should be making and who your audience is.
Allow us to run the analytical report for you, and then you can do what you want with it. And if you need help on implementation, you can also let me know at that time, and we'd be happy to, again, point you in the right direction on exactly what you need to do without having to spend a week figuring it out. All right. Any wrap up thoughts? Because we have 1 minute left, 2 minutes left. Any final thoughts for today?
I think the takeaways is make sure you're not creating or shouting into a vacuum like we talked about. Make sure build a monthly analytic review. Do this as a habit.
Yeah.
Every week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, you should be looking at your content, looking at your views, your retention, and are they taking action, most importantly?
And I would say, to be honest with you, I require my team to send me weekly reports. Now, keep in mind, if you're doing a weekly report, don't make judgments. If you're looking at a weekly report, remember that social media content has not had enough time to curate all of the views, because if it's doing well organically, it may amplify it over a 2 to 3 week period and you'll see them increase. And for our team members, other VAs, people working with social media management for financial advisors. You should be sending these analytical reports to your advisor on a regular basis. And don't forget to ask them to give you feedback about what they think, feel, and adjustments that need to be made based on the analytical. If you send an analytical report and they don't respond, I'm sorry. You, the client, the financial advisor, that's your fault.
Yeah.
Because it's got to be a conversation. If you're not listening to your team member or your VA or your secretary who's running these analytical reports, and you're not listening to your audience and you're not making the necessary adjustments, you're going to fail.
Yeah. Know your market.
Any other takeaways?
That's it. I think that we covered it.
Perfect.
It was...
And we hit the 10 a.m. hour. Again, if you just want us to take care of it for you, we'll point you in the right direction. Absolutely complimentary free service. Schedule 50minutes.com and we'll create a report for you. But the only thing I ask is if you sign up for that appointment, I am going to expect that you reply to our report and prove that you actually are going to study it. And then you're going to tell us what you learned from the report, because you're not listening. If you don't study your analytics and you don't adjust your thinking, then it's just a waste of my time and your time. And we don't want to do that. We want to help you actually scale your business.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us today, Brian. Thank you again for your time, your expertise. And next week, join us, same time, same day, same time. We'll talk about how to take successful organic content and turn it into paid money-making machine through paid advertising. And until next time, we'll see you in the digital world.